Massive. Yo, massive. 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 Yo, massive. Yo, massive. 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 Yo, 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 massive.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the West Ham Review. For what has been the hottest recorded day, heat wave for May. So enjoy the sunshine while it lasts, because as we know, it doesn't always stick around while we're enjoying it. As always, I am joined by, what can I use today?
He's stumped. He ain't even got
Oh,
one.
no.
saying.
I'm thinking of the words right there and that, the super flandicious budgie.
Super flandicious. I love it. Oh, great. Yeah. Spurs are 1-0 apparently.
Bloody hell, already. That's all right. As long as they're playing their full team, we don't care at this stage. Let them do that and get injured.
Mm.
How's it been for you, mate, anyway?
Very well, Tone, actually. Be honest with you, mate, been enjoying the sun. As you know, I'm sort of semi-retired now, so I'm just doing days when I need to or when I want to. I did a couple of hours this afternoon for a mate of mine, just helping her to move into her new house. And yeah, so I've just been enjoying myself, mate. It's been nice,
Lovely. Nice,
Yeah.
mate. Lovely. As Budgie's put in the chat, people, and we're going to come on to the people in the chat as always. As he says there, if you have a story you want to share about Paolo Di Canio, please open your comments with a question or Q. Thank you. Because obviously, yes, we are covering Paolo Di Canio as the Green Street Elites tonight. So
Yeah.
we're looking forward to this one.
We've got about 45, 50 minutes before we get there, but, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
As always. Let's start off with... good evening, Ray. Even always saying good evening to you as well, Ray. Hope you will, and you obviously reply back to
You
me.
can skip past me saying hello to everybody if you want.
Good evening, Des. How are you, mate? Good to saying hello to us. And Pepsi, Potter out. Yeah, we're gonna cover that one as well. Good evening to Darren Brady. Thanks for coming in. If it's the first time, appreciate you being here. Hope you enjoy what you're going to see and hear. But thanks for joining us as always.
I believe I've encountered Darren on other channels, but thank you for joining. And if you haven't already subscribed, please consider it. It's a great channel, lots of good content on it, Darren.
Thank you, mate.
Sorry, mate, carry on.
No, fine. Yeah, Pepsi's obviously same thing. Budgie and Tont Spurs won the lap already. Yeah. Good evening to Harry as well. Good evening, all you beautiful people. Come on, you irons.
Good evening, Mr. Monk.
And also our good old friend Sharky. Good evening to you boys. Evening to you as well. Oh, mate, it is, isn't it, Sharky? Another beautiful day outside. It has been absolutely roasting today.
Yeah, it's been glorious.
And I was out for the majority of that as well. So that was, all in black don't go well. That's is saying good evening, everyone in the chat.
Good evening.
And good evening, Stephen. Hope you will, mate. Evening, guys. Evening to yourself as well. Pepsi's also saying, and it's good that he's keeping us updated. Ball in the net at Old Trafford. Which way, though, Pepsi? That's the interesting one.
Yeah, that's interesting. And what I do want to know is how many screens you're watching.
Shark saying DeCanio was my favourite player as a kid. Yeah, I mean, you know.
I think a lot of us can, relate to that, Sharky, because, I mean, I was a bit older, obviously, but when you watched him on the pitch, you felt like a kid.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. In Spain, Pepsi. Yeah. Aces, good to see you as well, and also he's saying hello to you as well, Budgie.
Good evening, mate.
Man United away, yeah, that's good. Phil, good evening to yourself as well. Evening all, good to see you as well. And good old friend Stephen Spraggs. Evening,
Good
guys.
evening.
He's saying, with a heavy heart, I've had enough. Cannot watch the midget destroy our club anymore.
Stephen, I know exactly where you're coming from, mate, and just to sort of show you that there are many of us that feel the way that you do. I've not been going to games this season because I've been very disheartened with the way things have gone. But however, we have got a very important game this weekend, and we all need to be up for it. And, even those of us that aren't in the stadium, even those of us that are thousands of miles away in the United States or in Thailand or wherever, we've got to be up. We've got to be up for it, guys. We've got to believe in this game. So, Stephen, I implore you, mate, be up for Sunday, please. Sorry, mate. Carry on.
No, I mean, look, we can talk about this because I think this is the worst thing, isn't it? We're seeing the money spent during the summertime. We're now kind of realising that even though it looked good at the time, and we all got a little bit elated over it, and we thought this is going to be all right. We bought some fairly decent players. This is West Ham. We put this money out. It might go well for us, and of course it was twilight zone all from there.
Yeah, false hopes, mate. And,
cool.
We've been getting that really ever since we've been West Ham supporters. Any one of us could say, point a finger at a certain period in time where you expect something and you get the dead opposite. I mean, we expected, massive things when we moved to the London Stadium. Okay, it doesn't happen overnight. We all understood that, but the toxicity that's been going around ever since we arrived at that stadium has marred any good stuff that has happened. Yeah. I mean, just 2 years ago, guys, we were celebrating a European win. Just 2 years ago. Well, not even 2 years ago. 18, 19, maybe 20 months ago. We were celebrating winning a European trophy, And now look at us, none of us can pick our heads up. None of us can bear to watch a game. This is football. This is what we signed up for when we started wearing this badge, this colour. This is what we signed up for, guys, We didn't become West Ham fans for the glory and for the for the trophies, because they're so few and far between. We just got to live for the moment. In the words of Eminem, live for the moment.
Live for the moment, yeah, true. I mean, I get what you're saying there. I mean, for me, it's a case of I thought we've got over that kind of spell we had like in the late 90s and early 2000s, where it was a case of, we managed to keep in the division. Oh, no, shit, no, we're getting relegated. We're going down. I thought them kind of days had gone past us.
Yeah,
because I thought we would have progressed. And as you said, the fact that they sold the dream of Upton Park, moving to the London Stadium, which all looked good at the time, And okay, I get I know full well, seeing bits and pieces when I was there, why they moved from Upton Park. For one, we couldn't do anything else with it. We was very kind of stretched, with what was around the ground itself. We was very limited in what we could have done with it. But at the same point,
and the council were reluctant to allow us to do anything higher. They didn't want us to go up. You know, I mean, look at St James's Park, for example. And I noticed that Mama Floss is in the chat. Good evening.
Yeah, going to come to the
But you look at St James's Park, and that stand is as tall as it is deep.
It's true.
You know, and if we would have been given the permission to go higher at Upton Park, okay, maybe not the best views, but we would have still been at home. We would have made do. We would have made it, something. But the councils and everybody else were reluctant. They were under a lot of pressure from developers. They were getting backhanders left, right, and centre, no doubt.
I mean, the problem, because see some of the proposals that went through. One was Priory Road, building, because obviously you had the bus station down the other end, and they was talking about building a stand across the road and literally a tunnel underneath for the buses to get to the bus station. That was one of the things I wanted to do. Then there was a case of they couldn't go out because of obviously the service road by Urcans and the Barking Road. You had the block of flats the other side.
Yeah.
So they bought the church and the school. And then what they was going to do then was move the pitch from being how it was to face that way. And so instead of being like that, to face that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the cost was astronomical. And then when what was it there? The Bobby Moore stand. They built the last kind of proper stand they built.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When you see the first proposals for that, the stairways to get upstairs would have been bolted on to the side of the building, but the drop from there to the ground was something like 30-odd foot. Health and Safety said, no, you're not doing that. Not a chance in hell.
Yeah, not a chance.
And of course, up comes
externally bolted to the stadium, and then you go through a door and into the stadium.
Yeah, and you go outside of the stadium to go up the staircase to get to the next level.
Yeah.
It's a mad design.
Mind you, that probably would have freed up space for another 700 seats around the stadium.
Possibly, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you can understand them putting a proposal like that through, but realistically, you don't want to be climbing a set of stairs where, 30 feet isn't a great deal. You can survive it, but who wants to fall 30 feet? Nobody. But it's when you're getting up to near the top of the back of the stadium, that's nearer 45, 50 feet, and if the stairwells were going up that high, God knows what,
Because I've been up in that stand as well, and you did fear for your life. You thought yourself, I've always been footed in that. I'm going
to be rolling down, and there's nothing stopping me. Let's have a look, see what the chat is saying, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Harry's saying, been down pony worrying in the New Forest today. Gorgeous day. It has actually been. And Sharky's saying to Stephen, don't give up, Stephen. Things can always get better, mate. Because, we're all hoping that Sullivan sells up. But I think, as I alluded to last week, it's Kretinsky than me. I want to know what he's doing. Good evening, Richo. Evening, he says. Glad you parted with Moyes.
Harry's on to that in a minute.
Yeah, because Harry's in there straight away. Goes, yep. He's definitely happy with that.
I am not disappointed that he left or that we parted ways. I am not disappointed that he's gone to Everton, and I'm not disappointed that he's getting them back on track. To be perfectly honest with you, because I think David Moyes did enough at this club for us to call him a hero, right? I'm not going to use the legend word because that's really not what he was. He upset a lot of the fan base, but he got a silverware, a European trophy. So he's a hero for me. He's a cult hero, like a club hero. And I think he'd gone as far as he could with us, with our ownership. and with the model that he uses. And I think he can take Everton further than he did with us because of their ownership and because of his model, because it worked up there and it worked before he came to Man United and then on to us eventually.
True.
So, you know, I'm really pleased for Everton, to be honest with you, Richo. I really am pleased for you. I am disappointed in what we've had since, but that isn't to say that I want David Moyes still. There you go. There's my response.
Yeah, Harry said, I hope he does well for you lot, but he was never the right fit for us, which, yeah, it's I don't know, it's weird, isn't it? He done well in the 3 years of Europe, but I still say it to this day, you know, last season.
I have to answer this.
No worries, mate. I'm sure that Sullivan already told him that he wasn't going to be renewed. Richard is also saying, watch us go next season. And yeah, I mean, Budgie's right. I think you will take off with Moyes. And the Friedling group, for me, they appointed him, and I think it was the right fit at the right time. And I still say that. And he will be backed. I think he'll be backed, definitely.
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, I mean, that board, if you want to call it that, the board at Everton, they aren't scared to invest. Listen, they're going to be moving into a brand new stadium now. Well, they're already moving into it now. Like, they're getting everything ready for the beginning of the season, right? So they're not scared to invest. You know, they've invested a lot of money behind this new stadium, something like £1.8 billion or something. Wow. With all the infrastructure that goes with it, you know, like for closing off roads, for example, that's something like £75 an hour. And they've had them closed off for months. So, you know, it's about 1.8 billion, someone said to me the other day, that's what total cost of having all the infrastructure and that in place and then getting that stadium ready for the first game of the season, 1.8 billion. But the Friedling group have gone, and so, well, let's not just close the roads like when the trucks are coming up and down. Let's just keep them closed.
Yeah,
they've had certain roads up there closed for 24 hours of the day. I mean, not major roads, but you know, and it's £75 an hour with most councils to close a road.
That's when you put it in that context. Jesus, it's
there you go.
That says something itself.
At the end of the week, they've only got to have 2 roads closed down. At the end of the week, they've already spent £5,000.
Wow. Good evening to Mama, first of all. Evening, Ton and Buzzy. I know you've put Ton, I know that, but I just realised that, you know, I've seen this thing before, but I've never seen it as close up as this. That emoji there, you know, that little kind of gif there is absolutely superb. Shane Tonali drinking a bottle of Nuki Brown Ale and a big no entry there, or no for Sunderland on the old Mackems. Brilliant. Love that.
Yeah. Quality.
Dazzy's saying, Sunday's game is going to be a big game, and it's. I know they mentioned it yesterday, saying El Sakiko with Big Ange or Potter, which we're going to come to next. Phil saying 2 years is a long time in football, Budge. True.
It is. Yeah.
Hello to all in the chat. I mean, I suppose, as always,
it is a long time in football, but it's also just the other day as well. I mean, you can't tell me that you don't still watch the highlights or the full rerun of that game and get the same chills you got when you watched it the first time when it was live. I do.
Mm-hmm.
So it can feel like it was 5 minutes ago. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But, you know, I watch that, you know, either the highlights or the full game at least once a month, at least. Because I just have to make myself feel good sometimes, you know.
You've got to, yeah, that's for sure.
You know?
We're West Ham fans after all. We've been there.
And I'm on the self-inflicted ban from porn, so, you know.
If you have trouble in that, call this number.
012121.
Stephen's saying those flats they built are taller than any stand. Yeah, of course. and that's
Yes.
why they had to have stewards and police stop people from going up there and watching the game. You know.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, as a residential building, it's fine. You can touch the sky. And they've shown that in the United States, you know. Some of the places in England are pretty tall. But
Phil's saying apparently we had permission to extend the bowling to 45k. So what they was going to do, the corners.
What, a 9k increase?
Yeah, so basically what they was going to do, the corners, they was going to round them all off.
Yeah.
So literally you'd have a round, like an oval kind of looking.
Yeah.
Not oval,
So
but
there's
you know
there's about 3k.
And then the east stand, which was obviously where the chicken run was and all that kind of, that was going to be a 2-tiered stand, but going up X amount. But of course, like I said, they would have to then go over Priory Road to get that kind of level to sit all the way down. So that was another way that obviously kind of got the way it got knocked on the head. But I think once they knew that the London Stadium was a possibility of moving into, and that then that was the next road. Yes, Rich, I just seen that as well. 1-0 to Brentford. Yeah, they're just kind of
Good.
bit of a cheap goal to give away. Forest give, but you know.
Oh yeah, they're playing Forest, aren't they?
Yes, yeah. Pepsi in the race saying there. Strike saying stairway to heaven if things go wrong. That's very true. Harry's also saying, total respect for what Moisey as he means did for this team.
Yeah, modesty.
Yeah,
Moisty. David Moist.
Wasim, good to see you. Hope you're keeping well, mate. Big up
Good
Tony
evening,
Badge and
Wasim.
all in the chat. Hope things
Good
are well
evening,
with
sir.
yourself. Yeah, nice pick one there. Good evening to Mr. Bell.
Steve, how are you, bud?
I'd moan about that pint, Steve, because look, he's only 3/4 in there. What's going on? They have a bit.
He's not even a glass half full sort of man, is
No,
he?
exactly. He did Tony Badgie in the chat.
In fairness, he is. He is more of a glass half full rather than a glass half empty man.
That's true.
Pretty positive, young Steve.
He is. Good fella. And they all sound like each other. And there, Phil saying Everton's previous owner had a lot to do with the new stadium. Yeah, they did. It was them, and of course the Freelands took it over.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons probably they overspent and wanted to get out. But say the Freeland group, I think they'd be a good fit for Everton.
Massively. And I mean, the thing is, I'm glad it's happened to Everton because they've always been in Liverpool's shadow, and now they don't have to do that. They don't have. I mean, like they haven't. They've now got the most modern stadium in British football. More modern than our national stadium. More modern than the Tottenham stadium. It's at the moment, it's the new one. It's the daddy at the moment, isn't it? It's the one all the world's eyes are on, kind of thing.
And do you believe?
Because, as I said, Liverpool, they've won the league, and fair play to them. They've done it brilliantly.
Yeah.
But Everton have been struggling. Bear with me.
No, isn't it? Everton's playing a lot of this new stadium. Sharky saying, have a pop at the Sharks in your show yesterday, Budge. Yeah, I did see a little bit of that what you were saying about with Kieran. And they sound like Daz, not bad, Steve. Good now. Stevie Bell. Pepsi saying battle for 16th, battle for London's worst Premier League team. Yeah, well, we're both as bad as each other at the moment, that's for sure. Not good at all.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, mate.
To him in 2 days.
Oh, it's what it is. Just going back up the Sharkies comment, you said having a pop at the Sharks in your show yesterday, Budge. Great show you did yesterday, and
thank you.
Well done for getting Jose on the channel.
Well, I want to say thank you for that because I asked you if you could put me in touch, and you kindly did.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you did because even though I'd already sort of said to him, look, this is quite a large channel, West Ham Network, and you are going to open yourself up to all sorts of banter and nonsense. He went, I can deal with it, Budge, don't worry, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, fair play to you. And like, within 15 minutes, people in the chat were saying what a nice guy he is and stuff like that. So, I mean, he will get invites back on again, but not even when we're playing Tottenham. So so like during the break, Kieran and I are going to do a few different things. We're going to chat about food, music,
Nice.
sharks, this, that, and the other, whatever. But we're
Right.
just going to keep the Wednesday night thing going,
Good.
and
Good.
any West Ham news, obviously, we'll
Yeah.
cover it. But so I mean, there'll be opportunities for everybody I know to come on for an evening or for an hour or so and just lighten up a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which was good because, as you know, me and Anthony jumped in the end, making some little comments.
Yeah.
But what made me laugh about Jose when I said, "It's all right, I'll give your nump a budgie." I said he wants to invite you on the show, and that he's gone. I'm going football. I don't get back till about 10. I said, "That's fine. That's when they start. You'll be all right." And he said, "Oh, fair play."
He did say to me in the green room, he said, I've only just got back from football. I said, you must be puffed out. He went, yeah. He goes, but I'm here, I'm good for it. I was like, thanks for doing this, mate. He's like, yeah, no worries. No worries.
Because I'm in one of their chats as well, kind of thing. And I remember, man, poor old son, he tripped over in that where he plays the football and that. And managed to smack his head on a big old lump of concrete. Claret all down the side of his face and everything else. Lucky enough, he recovered.
Sorry, mate.
That's all right. Not bad. They're saying like with each other. Pepsi saying off battle for 16th, battle for London's worst Premier League team. Teams, I'd say, both of us. Teams.
And listen, not 2 to 3 years ago, West Ham were battling to be the best London team. I mean, we were, at one point at Christmas, we were fourth in the league.
I know, mate.
Yeah, it's kind of, touch and go for us there. We were battling to be, Anthony, we were battling to be the top London team, weren't we?
Indeed. Big up to my co-host, Anthony Herbert.
That was under David Moyes during COVID.
Yes, that's true. Stephen's saying, at least up to Park will still be home, and like the tourist hole we are in now.
Yeah, I get that, Stephen. Absolutely, mate. I'm going to go on Sunday. I mean, as I said, I'm not been to many. I've only been to one game this season. But it is Tottenham, and the ticket was a gift from the network, so I can't refuse. I've got to go, haven't I?
Yeah, indeed, mate. Anthony's saying, just got back from voting, and I voted for your party, Tony, the bald raving loony party.
Is it voting day today then?
I think it's just some places they were. I don't know if they
what local councils and stuff.
I'm assuming that's what it was. To be honest, I can't be asked with that. Kind of, they're all as bad as each other. So
I can't remember the last time I voted. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. Yeah, I always go the one like Brewster's Millions did. None of the above. Easiest one to vote for. Easiest one. Harry said, "Good evening, Anthony. I thought I saw a Doberman tied to a Vauxhall Viva in the car park. Vauxhall Viva.
Oh, but Doberman is going up. He's going up in the world with the Doberman. Brilliant dogs.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to do a dog podcast during the off season as well.
Nice.
I'm going to talk about dogs because and I'm going to get a pal of mine on with me, and we're going to do like maybe 3 hours or so.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's someone there. Stephen Spraggs is saying, the Kern brothers. Jesus Christ, remember them? Short arms, long pockets. Yeah, the Eggman. Yeah, Magnuson and that. Now we've got the midget. Will we ever get good owners? Cannot see the midget sitting up. Can you? And this is the thing, Stephen. I mean, this bloke's holding on to dear life, and obviously he's got his boy. Does he give it to him? Do you ever see?
Well, that's where I was going to go with it, actually, Tone, because I was going to say, look, he's giving him the female, the women's team, right? He's the owner of the women's team, on paper, and physically he goes and does the business with them, for them. So technically that's what he does, and I think that was a way of training him. It's a big job.
Yeah.
You know, it makes sense to do it that way if you're not going to let go of it. But having said that, I have a funny feeling that once that business changes hands from father to son, we're going to have a very different Sullivan reign. Very different. He's not like his dad. He's not frugal like his dad. Have you seen some of the players he's brought into the women's team? Not
Oh
in
yeah, yeah.
person, but
No, but
the
yeah.
players that he's financed and agreed to and that. I mean, we've had some quality players, not least of all Alicia Lehman a couple of 3-4 seasons back.
Mm.
You know, I mean, she's been voted as one of the top 3 women's players in the world. You know, that girl we've got now, I think she's Japanese or Korean, one or the other. Quality little player. We got some really good players.
Yeah. Yeah.
Martinez got 4 goals the other night in a 7-1 drubbing of Crystal Palace.
And of course, the under 18s. I mean, like, look what they've done as well, kind of thing. So there's a lot of positivity. Yeah. But when it comes down to the first team, it's just.
I think with the academy and the youth teams, the academy teams and stuff, I think there's a certain budget that's given to them, and then the people that run the academy distribute it however and do whatever. And I don't think David Sullivan gets involved a lot with the academy. You very rarely hear about him interfering in the academy. Very rarely. I think he saves all of that for us lot, the senior.
See, for me as well, it's just a case of, I think I said it last week or even the Sunday night. Kretinsky, this is the one that baffles me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to put any more money into the club, or you're not even thinking of going to Sullivan, you know what? I'm going to up my stake in there. I'll buy X amount of shares. We've got to see what Vanessa's going to do with her shares. Is she going to keep them, or is she going to sell them? She's not exactly bothered at all. She's shown no signs of interest into the club itself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're there just to take a dividend, I get that side of things. But if that's the case, leave a couple of shares in there, and then the rest of them sell off and sell them to Kretinsky with anything else, and that's it. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Kretinsky wants to become the major shareholder.
That seems quite obvious.
He just likes to be, either equal shareholder or, not a major one, a more of a minor shareholder, because that's what he does. He's a shareholder in multiple businesses, including Royal Mail. I mean, he's the major shareholder in Royal Mail, actually.
He just bought. He's bought the Royal Mail.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
I am kind of like going back on what I said, but normally he wouldn't do that. And if he is to go and buy more shares in West Ham, that means that he has to then cut some of his shares from
Sparta Prague.
Now, who wants to cut ties with their home team?
Well, it's the interesting thing. When me, Anthony, and Fuzzy did the show last night, was the Marinakis, the owner of Forest.
Yeah.
Because what he's just done, he obviously owns a club, but he's relinquished all control of running the club. So he's because obviously he owns also Olympiacos. So of course, again, he wants both of those to progress,
right,
in Europe, the Champions League. So he's done the best
basically thing. What he's done then is he's bought a team in Greece, he's bought a team in the UK. Who knows where else he's looking? But he's relinquishing the day-to-day running of it to someone he trusts to do it, someone that knows that business.
Yep. Which seems to be Edu, which is the former Arsenal guy.
There is no conflict of interest for him, because now it's just purely a financial deal.
Yeah.
It is no longer. I'm not involved with either club. I don't care. Well, I do, but I don't actually get involved. You know, I've got that man there to do that, that man there to do that. You know, I do not have a conflict of interest. You know,
Yeah,
I
I
want
think-
both teams to do well.
I think old Sir Jim Radcliffe needs to learn that one as well, not only just Sullivan. That's for sure. Good evening to Epic Ash Time. Good to see you as well. Evening, Tony and
Evening,
Budgie
Epic.
saying there. And also our good old friend Lee Stay from TV. Hello, everyone. Hello, Lee. Hope you're all well with yourself.
Oh, mate.
And hopefully, Mum and Dad's doing well as always.
Yeah.
So Stephen's saying I voted for the midget out party.
Good man.
Oh, man. Manure scored as well. Thanks, Harry, for that. Pepsi saying, will you talk about, this is obviously about the dog podcast, will you talk about Katie Price on your dog podcast?
No. I said
Yeah.
dogs, not biatches.
Because she still got that gaff down near towards where you are. She lived down that way, didn't she?
Yeah, somewhere out. Warning Lid or somewhere like that, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, the place looks like it's going to fall down. I mean, what she's done with it is just.
Yeah.
Des says, hope you have a great day, Budgie, on Sunday, and we get a great result, mate. That's very nice.
Thank you, Des. Thank you.
Harry's saying, did you see Nigel's Cartoon and Stills channel? Fucking hilarious. No, I missed it. Yeah, we have to have a look at that then.
Yeah, mate.
I'll have to look for that. Thanks for letting us know that one.
Thanks for the heads up.
Phil says, did you see ASC lob for the women against Palace? A beauty.
Yeah, that was a great goal. I think that was about goal number 5 or something, 5 or 6. And she was probably, I'll tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of the second goal at the weekend.
Oh, really?
Against Brighton. Reminded me of that. It was kind of diagonally across the box from outside the box and beautifully done. Beautifully done.
Oh, Stephen saw it. He said, yeah, Harry, it was brilliant. Yeah, we'll have to definitely look out for that then.
I've watched the game, actually. Well, the highlights of the game. I think it was about 15 minutes long. Really good highlights.
Pep's saying 2-0 to the Spuds. Daz also said the same thing. Bill Bowers had a red card and Manure are now 2 up. So,
wow. Wow. It could even be a Man U Tottenham final.
Oh, imagine that. Do you imagine that? I mean, it's good in certain respects, 2 English clubs.
I don't think they would meet each other in the sem. Oh, no, this is the semis, isn't it?
Yeah. So this could,
could even be a Man U.
Yeah.
Oh my God! And everyone was saying it was going to be Bilbao.
Exactly.
Oh.
I'm just looking at the Forest game here at the moment, and it is absolutely hammering it down.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh. Mate, it's been red hot all the last few days. Trust Forest to bring us a bit of rain. Have to have words with them.
So we'll briefly cover it because I know it's gone for a few days now.
Yeah.
But the game on Saturday, against Brighton. Now, both teams are not exactly had a great running. Our running was slightly better than what Brighton's were.
Yeah.
And I didn't see the game myself, but I looked at 1 minute and I see we was 1-0 down. And this is obviously towards the end of the game. Then I see, obviously, we pull one back and say, oh, great, that's good. And I thought to myself, that could be how the game's going to finish up. So at least they've got something out of it. Then suddenly, oh, look, we're 2-1 up. Brilliant. This is that's a result. 5 minutes later, 3-2. What did you make of that yourself, that game?
I did watch some of it. But I was playing darts as well, so, I weren't watching it intently. But having said that, I thought that we showed a little bit more than we have done in some games recently. Still wouldn't give anybody over 7 if I was, giving them marks. None of them would have got over a 7, and very few of them would have got a 7. Areola really didn't have a chance on one of them goals, but the other two, maybe. But then defensively, how did they get through so easily? Okay, one of the goals was a nice, beautiful lob over the top, and that was a good goal. But it was so disappointing, I mean, to go 1-1, I thought, yes, and it was a bit of a scrappy goal, but it was Kudus, and it made it better somehow.
Yeah.
I think it was probably because we were all just hoping and praying that he gets a goal to give him back that drive again, I suppose. And it kind of did for a while, Tone, from what I saw.
Yeah.
But I just think we allowed Brighton too much space when we'd drawn level. When we'd gone in the lead again. We just offered them and allowed them too much space. And again, Mitoma, the wriggly little bugger that he is, was causing all sorts of problems down that side. Wan-Bissaka did contain him quite well at most of the time, but he's a wriggly little bugger.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like saying you can't have him in your pocket. It's like you can't get Son in your pocket. You can't get, Salah in your pocket. I mean, you can have him there for a while, but he's always going to climb out and do something.
Yeah.
And that's what he's like, that Mitoma. He'll get a nice little through ball or put the ball down the wing to somebody else to get a nice through ball or whatever, But we just allowed them too much space too quickly. And then when they scored their equaliser, we stepped right off. They had probably 80% of the possession between the two goals, between their second and third goals. They probably had 80% possession.
That's not good. Yeah.
No. I mean, it's good for them.
Yeah.
Ain't no fucking good rush.
Yes, that's for sure. And then the thing I've heard more than Kelson that, and actually I was driving back at the time, and even the pundits said it. Hooking off Emerson to bring Kufel on and play him left back.
Yeah, that was a bit strange because I'm probably repeating what everybody else has said, but the logical thing to do would have been put Soufal on and put Wan-Bissaka over on the left. That would have been the logical thing to do with that substitution. But I just think Potter panicked a little bit, and you could see when Soufal came on, you could see he was like confused. Why am I playing on the left, boss? What's the reason for this, mate? I don't play here. He done the best he could, bless him. He did, but.
Yeah, because it comes down to the question of the thing. Let me just kind of go to the chat and we'll carry on this bit. Michael Blees is saying about obviously the picture. I suppose he put the Clapton Blues bit on that cartoon. He's also saying Manure Spuds final will be a dull watch. God dear me. Pepper said it hammered down where I am an hour ago. Did it really? I mean, like it's clouded over like it is at the moment, but I don't think there's going to be a chance of rain.
I'm looking over your shoulder and thinking, no, that looks clear.
Good evening, JB. Good evening. He's saying evening all, and they're saying hello to each other as well. Michael's saying Tony, the BFG understands it. He holds the truth, mate. I tell you. Oh wow. Big up to Tim at the back, no one in attack, and look at that, Johnny Law.
Yeah,
Johnny
and
Law.
Lobby is the new manager of Qatar. Well, they're shit anyway, so that won't really matter. He can only make them better. They've only won about 3 games in their history.
Bloody hell! Then, oh, well, there you go. That's they ain't going to win a single game then with him in charge. You know, you can see what's going to happen though. You know, the writing's on the wall straight away. It'll be a success. It'll be a turnaround, and yeah. And why do we sack him in the first place? It'll be all them kind of comments.
Yeah.
JB saying, why is it when we played the Europa League semi, we get unbeaten? It's every team in 49 games, and everyone's saying they could win Champions League and won the league. Spurs get a team that are playing awful. It's us, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's always with us. JB saying, good evening, gents. Good evening to yourself. 10 minutes at the back saying, Marinaka says, Forest, Olympiacos, and Rio Ave in Portugal as well. How's that? I didn't think you'd have 3 clubs. I thought it was only just.
Well, no, I mean,
suppose dual ownership, means anything, yeah.
Yeah, and if he's relinquishing the running of the club to somebody else and doesn't have a conflict of interest, it can't be classified as monopolising because they're in 3 different countries.
Mm-hmm.
The only chance they've got of playing against each other is in European competition.
Yeah.
And if it was, the case that any one of them 3 did meet, he's laughing financially, isn't he?
He is indeed, mate. He is indeed.
Especially if it's over 2 legs.
Yes, true. But thanks for the information on that. I didn't realise he also owned the Rio Ave as well. But yeah, man. Johnny Law.
Just think about it though, Tony. If any of those 3 teams did play each other in a European 2-leg game, right? Marinakis, right? He would be getting money from the home gate and from the away gate in both games.
I wonder if they allow that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just going back on the picture, I mean, John Law, have you read his autobiography?
I haven't, actually. I've been looking for it and I can't find it for less than 50 quid.
Bloody hell.
Some guy's got it and it is signed. And he said, I'll take 50 quid for it. But
I mean, obviously, when his career was ended, the knee injury, etc., and of course, Ron Greenwood brought him onto the coaching team because obviously back in the day, that's what you did.
Yeah.
I like the fact that, funny if we're talking about Forest and pissing down the rain, the fact that them 2 would sit in a car park for hours and all they did was talk football.
Yes.
And share knowledge and experience. I mean, that in itself, just sitting in the back seat listening to them 2.
And you got to remember, he was picking Greenwood's brains for years as a player and then as his assistant or as a coach or whatever the case may be. For years, he was picking the brains of that man. And what he knew and what he implemented himself and Greenwood's knowledge, that's what made him such an iconic manager for us, was the fact that, even though, yes, he lost games and yes, he got relegated, but, the passion that the team played with, that's where the West Ham way comes from. The way John Lyle had this team or this club playing. If anybody wants to know what the West Ham way is, watch any one of John Lyle's games, win, lose or draw.
And the fact that he signed McAvenny and a little chef in Todditon. That's brilliant. That's the way to do business.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't he ambush somebody that had just been... he was at an away game. I can't remember the game. I'm sure he bumped into a player who was supposed to be going to chat with... I can't remember who it was. He was Man United's manager before Alex, a long time before Alex. God, what's his name?
Hopefully someone in the chat will think of it.
Yeah, but apparently he sort of ambushed one of the players that was supposed to be going to chat to him And he's like, well, you know, I think you should come and have a chat with me over a cup of coffee. And, you know, within a week or two, I think we were signing him. Now, that was... I'm pretty sure that was David Cross. I'm thinking that was David Cross, you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure myself. I hope the chat will come up to it.
I remember David Cross saying that he was at a services not knowing whether he was going to be turning north or south. Waiting for
the call for me,
someone
right?
to turn up and confirm
Yeah.
where he was going. And yeah.
I mean, Michael was here saying stupid sub, Kufel at left back, Crest would have been better. I mean, obviously, I said I didn't see any games. I've not looked into the team thing. But did we have Scholes and Cresswell sitting on the bench then?
I don't know if Scholes was on the bench. I don't think he was.
So if that's the case,
Ron Atkinson. Thanks, Brendan. Ron
Brilliant.
Atkinson.
Okay.
It was Ron Atkinson.
So looking at that, you know, you would have gone with Cresswell.
You would think so.
Brendan, good evening, Tom Budgie chatters. We lose on Sunday. The last two weekly melts were pale in comparison.
Yeah.
Harry's saying, let's have a toke on that, Budgie.
It's just a vape.
Went to see the accountant too at the flicks. Enjoyed it. It's good to hear. Can't do the flicks talk. Too much input for me, fella. Michael saying Marinakis has put his Forest shares in funds, so he is not owner. If Forest make Champions League, if they don't, he would take back shares. Watch this space. Ooh. So he's being clever with it. And that's what you're saying, Michael. He's being clever with it.
Yeah.
Businessman at the end of the day, but he's also he's passionate about Forest, so you can't fault that. Phil says your boss paid up. No, Phil. I'll chase him up again today. Yeah, I'm going to bring it in tomorrow. I'll bring me card in. I don't want a card. I want cash. That's as simple as that. But yeah, no, Phil. He's you know, typical Arsenal fan. Tight as arseholes, don't want to pay out. But I lost one. I see was Banshee of Inner Sheeran. Still a tad traumatised for that. Yeah, I've heard that's a bit. So fair play to you, Brendan. JB saying, Budgie, what area do you live, mate? Are you London way? I swear I've seen you before, apart from on the show.
No, I'm from Crawley, near Gatwick. And I do get up to London quite a bit, but mainly for games, really, to be fair. I do drink in the Carpenters on game days when I go up there. Sometimes I go over to the Witherspoons, whatever it's called.
Oh, the Golden...
The Golden Gate.
Grove.
No,
Grove.
Grove.
Golden Grove.
Yeah, Golden Grove, yeah. I do go there occasionally, but not very often.
Hopefully when you did go, they actually fixed the toilets, because the last time I there, it was like... fucking...
Yeah, and I can't believe they got the toilet doors right next to the kitchen door. That makes me giggle. Imagine going into the kitchen and getting your todger out. That'd be a laugh, wouldn't it?
Oh, sorry, mate. I thought it was in the... Yeah. Pepsi saying, last time I was traumatised, I was at a West Ham home game. Yeah, very good, Pepsi.
I would have thought it was an Arsenal home game when we were there.
Yeah. Dr. Film talks music, single fatherhood, art, historic, studies, nature walking, people watching, and swimming talks. Don't do much else. Smoke lots of weed. Happy days, yeah. 10 minutes. 10 minutes at the back says McAvenny was chatting to Pleat at Luton Town and Lyle stepped in. What a man. What a man. Right. Atkinson, Doherty saying, yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, Atkinson.
People watching is the best time ever. Yeah, but both of us on the bench. Thank you very much for that. That's just amazing. Yeah, sitting on the bench, you don't play him. What the hell is that all about? And you're bringing Kufau as right back. And this is where we're going to go on to the next one. Just going to say to our good old friend Calcio with Rhino Z. Good to see you coming onto the show and that. How's it going? Yeah, all good, my friend. All good, my friend. And if you don't get a chance to, go and give a share, a like, and subscribe to this guy as well. Does some nice stuff as well. Only recently started chatting to him. But yeah, got some good stuff going on there.
Good evening.
Women watching women walk by purely for artistic development. Togs, yes.
Yeah, of course, mate. Of course.
Oh, Daz, you're not wrong there, mate. We do need a McAvenny now.
Imagine what we could do with a bloody Stuart Slater right now, or a Mark Ward right now.
Well, funny. So we're going to come on to about Potter, but we'll just briefly touch on to this. What we'll come on to with next.
Yeah.
He's saying, Brendan saying, Harry, the local town here is like a staggering weekend resort. You can imagine the sights and sounds. Bloody hell. I can imagine the debauchery. Yeah, it's probably about right. Yeah. Brendan saying, Buzzy, I'm sure I've seen a photo of a younger you that has a look of John Lyle.
Oh.
I see the fit. I can see that. Yeah, I can see what he means by that. Yeah.
Hang on. I think I know the picture he's talking about and all.
Thank you,
I'm going to see if I can find it while we're chatting. So.
Brilliant. Good evening to you, usual. The mountain goats, cadaver sniffing dog. Brilliant.
Cadaver. That's like dead bodies, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. Yes. What do you make about the Somerville situation?
Is that the picture you're talking about?
Wow, look at that.
I was 27 now, 26, something like that. Both ears pierced, pink shirt, pretty trendy back then, wasn't I? Oh, and I had a ponytail as well, but you can't see that in that picture. It's behind my head. But yeah, trendy little fucker, wasn't I? Get rid of it.
That's brilliant, mate. That's brilliant.
Right, let's get rid of that. Too many people have seen that now. Oh dear. Is that the picture you mean? Do I look like a John Lyle in that one? Is that the one you mean?
Yeah.
Oh look, United are 3-0 up.
Not that one, Budgie. You're about 40. It's an old GSC somewhere. So.
Oh, right. Okay.
Going to highlight Michael Bleas's when I come back to that shoot. So shortly, they all sound like the usual. Phil saying, yeah, United 3-0 up now. Oh, they're enjoying it. Did you fall asleep last night? When you were 3-0 up as well, yeah. Brendan saying, I believe it or not, I really did. Yeah, Somerville. What do you think about this Somerville situation? I mean, he got injured.
I'm confused. I am confused. Why didn't he have the surgery sooner? Was it because he was frightened to or something?
Yeah, they're saying it's the player. I mean, surely, we've got doctors, we've got, medical staff and stuff like that. So why did it take this long? And we may lose his service for the beginning of the season. I don't know.
I know it's such a weird scenario. Why leave it so long in the season and miss perhaps the beginning of the next season as well? Why not just get it done earlier and then, you could be fit for the next season, ready to go like a new player.
It's kind of showing elements again why we've had a crap season. Things like this, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we have been unfortunate with that injury and also with the injury of Antonio, which are both long term, obviously. We've been unfortunate with that because they're both attacking players. And they are both players that will make something happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't find the picture that he's talking about. But they will make something happen. You know what Antonio's like? If nothing's going his way, he'll wring the fucking neck of the game to get something.
True.
He's stumbled into the box before now and scored a goal because he's trying so damn hard,
2-0 to Brentford, just to let you know now. 2-0 to Brentford.
We've got an attacker in Somerville that wants to make things happen. And and I know what you're saying with that, Brendan, but I actually don't think it's going to be as bad as that. I think Maxi Cornet was doomed from the moment he arrived because David Moyes was there.
Yeah.
I think he's not a David Moyes type player.
He was saying the Spanish mob down to 10 men as well. But 10 men at the back has kind of thrown something onto this. He's saying he wanted to see if it would heal naturally. Very strange situation. I mean, when you pull your hammy, I can get that. But surely, yeah, as you said, it's a weird one.
The surgery took something like 65 minutes.
Yes.
That's an hour of your day, right? Maybe 4 hours if you think about the pre-op and everything, but that's less than half your day taken up, really, to have an operation, and then you just rest up for 6 weeks, and then start working on it. I mean, he could have done this 8, 10, 12 weeks ago.
And this is the thing for me. I mean, at the end of the day, you're a pro player, and that obviously fitness is a key thing to be into the team, showing what your worth is. But to make it heal naturally, you ain't just going down the gym, are you? You're a competitive footballer. You're an athlete in certain respects. You're kind of showing. You're kind of continually doing them kind of fitness regimes, your diet and everything else. So to make it heal naturally, as Phil's saying here, they'll make you right, Phil. It's fucking useless, the medical team. What the hell did they say to him in the first place? And if that's the case, even if they did say anything, then he's clearly turned his back on them and said, "I'm going to do it my way."
I mean, in fairness, I don't know what changes have been made in our medical team over the last few years, but excuse me, we had an injury-prone crook centre forward in Mikel Antonio. They changed his diet. They did an operation on his knee or whatever it was, his ankle. They did that operation on his ankle. They changed his diet. They changed his fitness regime. They, changed his training schedule to suit him. And then up until his crash, we had near enough 2.5 years of uninterrupted football out of him. Almost uninterrupted.
Yeah.
But, there were no long-term injuries in that time. None that were 3 months and longer. I mean, he was out for I think it was about a month at one point, at the most. So, the medical team and the fitness team and that must know what they're doing to some degree, because, to get an older player back into that sort of condition is no mean feat. So, obviously Somerville, as 10 Men said, that he wanted to let it heal naturally, or see if it would heal naturally. I do understand that, and I do admire that, because I'm like that. But if I was told, well, yeah, it might heal naturally in a year, you might be able to get back to training in a year, or we can do a hour-long operation on it, and you'll be back to training in 5 months, mate, that operation is getting booked there and then for me. Yeah. Especially if that's my trade, that's my job, And
that's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, as players, and that we've seen it with certain players, when you have injuries like that, you have all the medical attention done to you, because they will mend you or knit the muscle back in the right way it should do. If he's going to let it heal naturally, then there's going to be scar tissue. It's probably going to be tight as he goes on at certain things. So there's a risk of it all going again. And
be weak in certain areas. Phil's put in the chat there, Antonio had the op. I'm assuming you mean the hamstring op. Good, because clearly that was under instruction from the medical team.
Yeah. I'm going to come
Because
into that.
that's
Just
gonna
want
be their first option. They want you back on the pitch as soon as possible.
hopefully we see him. We may actually see him, but let's just kind of catch up on the end. I'm going to go back to Michael Blease's comment. Pepsi said, "Lucky don't get any stags in my local town, but they do a lot of harm with their antlers. If one of them hits your car and it's costing them, and you hit one of them full pelt, mate, your car's a write off.
Yeah, definitely.
They are big old mothers. There was, God, I'm going a few years back now. This red stag. He was an absolutely immense beast. He must have stood easily around about 8 or 9 foot high.
What, with the antlers, Matt?
Well, no, that's just him.
Oh, right.
Then you had the antlers on top. He had these, and he was found wandering around the streets of Leon Sea, and he ended up at a kind of mini kind of zoological place called Molehill Farm, and he was there. And I remember taking my kids.
Good job you weren't found in Crawley. You'd have ended up in the local kebab shop.
Let's just look at that meat.
I have got to quickly go and have a quick toilet break, mate.
No worries, because I'm going to catch up with the chat here and there. So I'm going to come back to my when Budgie's back. Where are we now? Where are we? Why's the mouse not moving? There we go. Harry as well. I had money on Bilbao as well. Usual factors. Yeah, well, we know Usual's lost a bit of money as well over the last couple of games. He's put a bit on. Yeah, you're up wrong, Steve Bell. Yeah, only at West Ham for fuck's sake. Yes. Yeah, anyone else? Yeah, no problems at all. Up rocks West Ham. Bang. That's the thing. But yeah, absolutely. Michael saying Somerville didn't want surgery. He thought it was a minor injury that would correct itself. He should know his own body. In truth, yeah. Is that naivety from the player? I don't know. But if you're going by that, wow, that's what you got a medical team for. As much as this might be shit, but if not, seek medical advice. You know, this is your bread and butter as a player. Michael's also added on, as a team, West Ham United are so unbalanced and slowest midfield in football history. And yeah, that's why I said earlier, the fact that we brought all these players in, we thought myself, yeah, that's great, it's going to be good for us. And now we're seeing the worst part about it. Our midfield is too slow for walking football. This is true. Jimmy was injured in January against Villa FA Cup. It's a very long time. It is a long time, and you can't be leaving it as long as that. Phil's also, he's had the operation. Thank you for that, Phil. But Fuzzy's happy Man United winning. Yeah, he would be very happy at this stage. He's got to be, isn't he? Good evening, Terence. Hope you're well, mate. Good to see you on here as always. Hope you're keeping well, matey. They're saying hello there. The Master Butcher of Leon C. Yes, indeed. Yeah, it was a beast of a thing. And the thing was, when I remember going there one time, and it was rutting season. And there was a bit where literally that you could normally walk along this pathway around the edge of this enclosure, and that's where all the deers were. With him hanging around, they fenced it off completely because he was. I mean, his antlers. Look at the size of the antlers at the time. Got easy, must have been about 4 foot in length each one.
Yeah, they do get to that. I mean, we've got deer all over the place around. I live just on the edge of Tilgate Park, which is like a little spur off of the Ashdown Forest. And so we get deer here all the time, foxes, badgers, all sorts, you see them all on school grounds everywhere around here. And, there are some of the male deer here, and they're only, what you call them, fallow deer around here, yeah. I think. And, they're probably 5 foot, 5.5 foot to the top of their heads. But their antlers, they look like they're like 20 foot. But they're about 3.5 foot, the antlers. But it makes them look so much bigger and so much more daunting. But yeah, when you're talking about rutting season, the local, we used to call him park keeper, but he's basically just a council employee that drives around Tilgate Park and opens gates and locks gates and makes sure pathways are not blocked by trees and things like that. Anyway, so he left his brand new Ford Transit Connect parked up, and he went to go and check on this pathway, which takes him about 15 minutes. He's come back, and in the local paper, the story said it looked like somebody had been hammering his car.
Wow!
There was so many, or his van. There were so many dents and gorges in the side of the panel on the van, where he was just scratching himself up, I suppose, on the side of the van. Big dents and like about 20 grand's worth of damage in total. What goes on with it. Well, I don't know if it's 20 grand, but it's just a lot of damage. Whole top of the van was fucked.
Bloody hell. He says he hit a road deer a few years ago. Just ran out in the road very early in the morning, doing 30 mile an hour. Smashed my front bumper and passenger headlight. Bastard limped off before I could exchange insurance details.
I've had one jump over a fence at like a hedgerow, and jump over it and hit my car on the bonnet and bounce off the other side over the hedgerow the other side. I'm left there with steam pouring out of my bonnet and everything else, and this deer bouncing across the road all over the bloody place, and my car's absolutely foobar. You know what I mean? I had a Volkswagen Scirocco at the time.
Bloody hell.
Completely, it just smashed the top of my car up. The bonnet and that.
Yeah, they do some damage. I remember years ago, I dropped a mate of mine off, and as I've left him, I've come up going up the hill, and also one's come out and hit the side of the car.
Yeah.
And lucky enough, it started itself and it went back in. But when I looked over to my left, there was fucking 30 of the bars. It's like, you go first and see if we can cross the road. Bang! Now, fuck that shit. We're staying here. Like, it was one of those kind of moments. It was one of those.
And it's probably the young male, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A young male trying to be a bit sort of dominant and that. And the old man goes, yeah, go on then. Cross the road, you clever bastard.
I'm going to click Phil's one then, because I'm going to go back to Michael's comment. Because Michael's asking, Potter's a broken man. He just didn't want that after-match presser. Because, this is why Potter, is he losing it? It just seems that, is it deja vu for him at the moment? Because that post-match talk, that was a bit spicy. It was a little bit interesting to see.
Yeah, there was. There was a little bit of meat on it, but the thing is, you got to understand, mate, he's in a high-pressure job, right? He's getting nothing but grief from the likes of us, on every podcast, every YouTube channel. He's getting, chunks taken out of him. And that obviously pans out to the wider viewing audience as well, because all of us as viewing audience, we all do it as well. So, he's probably got all of that on him. What with the way the players are now feeling, expressed beautifully by Fulkrug last weekend. There was stories about Todibo and him maybe having a bit of a rift in their relationship. You can understand that Potter is feeling a bit broken. Now, if you remember, Lopetegui came to a game looking like homeless drunk. He looked dishevelled. He looked like he was
the Newcastle game.
Yes.
Yeah.
The following game came back an absolutely new man, and I think we completely destroyed Ipswich, wasn't it? Following game.
We lost. No, I think we lost the next game.
Did we?
Interesting. Yeah, I think we lost the next game. I'm trying to think what it was now. The actual score. Because I actually did a watch along with Mama on that for the Newcastle game, and as you said, he did look like been dragged through a head backwards, and of course that's where he was having, doing regular visits to his dad before he passed away.
Yeah.
And I think obviously the dad must have took a turn for the worse, and you can see how it affected him. But not being funny, that was probably one of the best games under him in charge. other than that, it didn't bode well. But to be fair, in certain respects, or in the defence of Lopetegui, as we mentioned before, if it wasn't for them games that he actually won, it kind of kept us where we are at the moment, and out of relegation.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I think Lopetegui could probably take to the bank, plus obviously the money that Sullivan paid him off with. But yeah, with Potter going like that, it's a case of you've got to realise when you might be saying it's a high pressure job. You know, Sam Allardyce proved that when they monitored him up that time.
Yeah.
But when you go into management, then you've got to realise that you are going to get some shit. You are going to be scrutinised and you are going to be looked at. And if you're not doing it, people are going to let you know. And especially us lot, we're not quiet when it comes to them kind of things. We just want to, our managers come in, stamp their mark, see the team do well, even if they lose, but they try. We'd rather have that than some of the dross we've seen over the last couple of games and how we throw it away. Like you said, sitting back on certain games, allowing Brighton to come back into the game. The Southampton game with, again, the substitutions, which have cost us certain points. And when you look at things like that, it's a case of, the Southampton one for me, the fact he dragged his arse out of it and hoping that we'll see that through 1-0.
Can you remember a conversation we had when he was front runner for replacing Lopetegui? Lopetegui was still in the job. I think we were doing this show, and the conversation we had, and I said to you, I really don't want Potter. I don't think he's Premier League quality.
Yeah. Remember that conversation?
I kind of feel justified in that comment now. I really don't think he is Premier League quality. I think it's too big for him. Yes, he done great at Brighton. Didn't do so well at Chelsea. He's not doing so well here.
No.
Maybe it was the infrastructure at Brighton that helped him.
Well, the thing is, he came into the team and that, and he had to grow into that job at Brighton, as you said. But the model at Brighton, they could make an absolute fortune if they sold it onto other clubs because that works so perfectly well.
Yeah.
And it's not only this case of it works well, it's also seen some players come through the ranks and obviously some good money. But when he went to Chelsea, I know sometimes we can say money talks, and if that's what he went for, then that's the reason why he didn't do so well at Chelsea. But it was just too much of a bigger job for him. You could see how bad it was because it literally aged that man overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they finally part ways with him. He gets paid a fair bit of money for, sitting there doing bugger all for the near enough 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And of course, into the fray for the West Ham job, which he then gets. And you got to think at the time, it looks like it was only going to be 6 months. And then suddenly they now say it's going to be 2.5 years. Okay. Where's this all of a sudden come from? Because it seemed like, you only wanted him here for a short period of time.
Yeah, caretaker.
Yeah. So it's a case of what is the only option left? And this is where we've gone to.
Maybe that was his decision to say, no, listen, I'm not going to leave Chelsea's employment and be comfortable with the money they're sending me every month. I'm not going to leave that just for an interim job. Not happening. Offer me a full-time 2-year contract or better, and I'll do it. But I ain't doing it for 6 months just to help you out and buggering up my lovely little nest egg at Chelsea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you couldn't blame the man for saying that. You couldn't blame the man for saying that.
No.
Look, I don't dislike Potter, right? I just don't think he's Premier League quality. And, I stand by that because he's proving that he's not. These substitutions are very questionable at times. Some of them are obvious. Even a 5-year-old could make it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
some of them are questionable. You know, like you said, why would you take off a reasonably fit, albeit a little bit tired, but an incredibly talented and impulsive left back in Emerson? He's impulsive. What I mean by that is that he'll blast up the wing quick, sudden, and whip a ball in. You know,
Yeah.
Why would you do that for a right-footed player that's never played there? He's not comfortable there. You know, what was you thinking, mate? You know.
See, I look at it like this: the Chelsea thing, is it a case of it caused more, what's the word? I suppose psychological damage than anything else. Even though he got a big, like I said, he got a big payoff, and basically stayed out of the game for 2 years. And then, of course, up he comes to us, and has that scarred him so much that he gets delusions of, I wouldn't say grandeur because that's the wrong word to use. I think delusional probably be the best word, because we've seen in certain games we go like one step forward and we go quite a few steps back. And it's the typical one for me is the Arsenal game. We set ourselves up for Arsenal. He was so chilled out in that game. He was sitting on the seat and that, and he's talking to the coaches and that, and as they're looking at the game and talking away, and it all kind of collected, and we go and win the game. And it's like, well, if you can prove that this team can do that under your tenure, why isn't it week in, week out? Because then we went all to pot. And yeah, that's the outfit. That's the other thing. Has he got the influence, like you said? Has he got the influence to kind of turn a game around?
Yeah, no, he's not showing it, is he? Let's be fair. And with regard to the question on screen now, mate, would we start Orford at the weekend? I wouldn't know. I mean, he's not had a start all season. He ain't had a minute on the first team agenda. Not 1 minute. He's not played 1 minute this season. So no, I wouldn't start him, Phil. But I probably wouldn't start Ollie Scholes either. I'm of the belief that, listen, this is our crux game, right? This is Tottenham. Nobody wants to lose to Tottenham, right? They want to beat us drastically so that they can get 2 more points clear of us, or 2 points clear of us. We want to win because it's Tottenham, and also because we ain't won a flipping game since Arsenal, and we need to show that we've got what it takes to win games, right? So for me, you go with your strongest lineup, and for me, that's Fabianski in goal. That's Emerson. I'm going 4-1-4-1. Right, this is what I would play if I was. I would go Emerson on the left, Todibo and Kilman in the centre, Wan-Bissaka out on the right, obviously. In the middle at the 4, obviously it would be Alvarez for me. Strongest defensive midfield player we've got. The best defensive midfield player we've got, in my opinion. So I'd put him there. And then the 4 in front, it would be on the right, it would be Jared Bowen, where he belongs. In the middle, I would have Kudus and Paquetá, right? And then on the left-hand side, I would probably play Ollie Scholes. Or I might put Creswell at the back and Emerson up on the left-hand side there.
Yeah,
actually, no, that's probably what I would do, actually, thinking about it now.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Ollie Scholes being a left-sided midfielder, but he's too good in defence to waste him out there.
Get that.
Whereas Emerson likes to push forward, so he can still do defensive duty from there. But then, and then I would have Füllkrug in front of them 4. That, for me, is a team to beat Tottenham. I'm sorry, Soucek can get a start.
Yeah.
But if you've got Kudus and Paquetá, behind Fulkrug in the middle there, what kind of little mixtures are you going to get? You know, you're going to get all sorts going on. There'll be some magic, some fairy dust. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
I just think that Potter needs to bite the bullet. He needs to put his best 11 out there, regardless of what formation it looks like. I think he needs to put his best 11 out there, and he needs to give them all the instruction. The only instruction he needs to give them is do not lose. That's it.
Keep the score. Yeah.
Do not lose. If you draw the game, I'll kind of grit my teeth and I'll deal with it. I want all 3 points out of you, Muggs. You don't give it to me. You're my best 11. You don't give me 3 points this afternoon. None of you lot get a game the rest of the season.
Yep, you'll come off. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right, yeah, it's the best way.
Season, I would be like that. I mean, I know Potter's not like that, but you know, I mean, they really do need a good kick in the nuts, them lot. All of them.
Well, I think you're right. We say it's setting your stall out for next season. So if he does it early, pardon the pun, early doors, then yeah, that's the way forward. Just going to catch up the chat badge as well. He did a Rona, then yeah, absolutely. Steve Bell's also saying that story about Leon C is staggering. Harry says, "Who is the master of butcher of Leon C?" Brendan saying, "Sounds like a line from Cart the Unstoppable." And also Harry says, "There's a large male row that sits in the field. I can see him from my lounge. Afternoons, he sits against the fence enjoying the sun. I enjoy it, lad. Yeah, that's a nice old sight.
That's lovely. Nice.
We have them at the back of our blue car park. You see, they come from one area and we'll move all the way around there. And we did in where I'm based. We had a female doe there. Actually, of a night time, she'll walk around the car parks and that. And then she ended up going out on the road, and one of the Ubers unfortunately killed her. So yes, lovely thing. Sheriff Fatman, Tog spot on. Yeah, because I see. Yeah. Now it's interesting because I just look up there as it says here, the phrase "Master Butcher of Leon C" is a reference to Klaus Barbie, a Nazi war criminal who was known as a Butcher of Leon during World War II. The USM song Sheriff Fatman mentions Barbie as the Master Butcher of Leon C in a satirical and critical context. Nice.
Okay.
Tune is saying there, usual saying all this talk about deer reminds me of the dog in Richmond. Oh yeah, Fenton. And then chasing after him. That was brilliant. Yeah, that was quality. I agree on that as well, Harry. Yeah. Brendan saying classic as usual. I used to bike through there just before the gates closed, spooky sounds, and then big beasties appeared in the middle of the road. Well, when I was away on that, I was in Poland. The boars, Jesus Christ, the size of them bloody bastard things.
Yeah, they are big.
Steve Bell saying, talking to a couple of Brighton supporters on Saturday, they said that they couldn't wait to see the back of him. I thanked them for Ferguson.
I hope you didn't get arrested for it though. For thanking them.
Loppy's dad had just. I thought he already died.
No, he was saying that his dad had just died.
Sorry.
When we were talking about the Newcastle.
My bad. Yeah. Get you.
He died that day or the day before.
Fenton's owner is just like the Potter. He's lost control. Yeah. Lion likes. I don't know. What's the likes count so far, people?
I don't know. Ain't it up on the top of your screen?
I can see 22 up there at the moment.
All right.
Usually I love the countryside. I still do before the bastard concrete over it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He couldn't ultra lead with Pepsi. Bang, yes. Clap. Loppy has just lost his dad. I think his dad was an idol. Yeah. I mean, the main thing when you look at it, it just seems strange that he turned up for that game looking dishevelled and we get a great result.
Yeah.
And then once he cleaned himself up and that, it all went to shit after that, basically. Frog saying, good evening, gents. Sorry I'm late. We're all good? Yeah, good, man. Good. I hope you are as well,
Frog. Good evening, Froggy.
I hope you've enjoyed your day, mate. More than anything else than that. Glorious sunshine.
Mate, you need to get out of that well. It's damp, cold and dark down there, mate.
Remember that conversation Budgie's saying there?
Thank you, Brendan.
Anthony Berber said, I said this Budgie about Potter on last night's show. He did. He did indeed.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah. See this year, look, Brendan. When we get Ramsdale, I remember you did not want him either.
Thanks, Brendan. Love that.
Excuse me. Michael Bleach says best form of defence is to have a target man in the opposition side of the pitch as an outlet. If the ball is up there 50%, they can't score from that distance. True, you defend from the front. Always
Which is why, as I said, we miss Antonio because he was that.
Yeah.
Well, even if he was on the line, knocking the ball off like from a corner, and then the ball gets lobbed out, who was it that received it? Him. You know what I mean? It was like he could magically be somewhere.
True.
You know, and I like that about him. His work rate was never in question.
Nah.
Sometimes his style and finishing was
a little bit iffy, yeah.
But you know, like for example, right? We've just been talking about the Brighton game and the Brighton project and this and that, right? When I went to the Brighton game last year, and we won 3-1 at Brighton, yeah. For the third goal, Antonio's footwork was incredible. His turn was beautiful. He dummy turned the defender, and it was really, really, really good. And like that's classic Antonio in his prime. And I also mentioned, I think we were playing Everton or Villa. I'm not sure which game it was, where it might have even been Wolves, where he tripped over in the box and he managed to hit it with his knee. And it went over the keeper and into the goal. Do you remember that goal?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's him at his clumsiest best.
Yes, that's
you know what I mean? And there have been times when he's like run at players, he's lost the ball, but you know, he's almost tripped over. He's managed to get his footing back and somehow come out with the ball. You know, that's what I'm talking about with Antonio. At least while he's doing that, he's like you say, we're not allowing shots on goal, you know.
Yeah.
We miss that kind of player.
You do indeed. I agree on that as well.
Andy Carroll, very good.
Andy Carroll, yes. Potter's last wage packet from Chelsea was the month before he joined it. That's true, yes, because his final payment and then walked straight into a job, so don't lose our money.
Fox saying we had to wait until January to get him.
Fox saying even if Sullivan makes a good decision for West Ham, he still fucks it up. That's how he is. Terence,
very accurate.
Terence says, gents, I see your point about Potter and his weird substitution calls, but in the long run, he's right for West Ham. I've said that, Terence, as well. I think he is the right fit at the right time. I think it's just a fact of, I know we've heard it many a time, probably on my channel, on Budgie doing West Ham Network as well, and also the other channels, the thing of, they're not his players, but he's still a coach.
It's a very common
demeanor
that we get to hear and use, you know. But you know, the thing is, like you just said, Tone, he is a coach, and you know, a coach is supposed to be able to do his job with whoever's in front of him.
Yeah.
So, you know, and if players aren't buying into his philosophy, there's only one person to blame for that, and that's him. He's clearly not selling it well enough.
No. I mean, look, Michael said the same thing here. Look, you know, I think Potter cannot manage superstars. He's comfortable with club players, yeah. And Wassim's also saying the thing as well. He's a development coach, cannot coach big players.
He leaves most of the coaching to the coaching staff at West Ham. He observes most of it.
Yeah, because he has got a coaching staff. Phil's saying he can't be any worse than JWP. Looks like a pen for the Spuds. Potter is a builder, not a fixer. It's a good shout. It is a good shout on that one. I agree. Obviously. Yes, Dad's obviously saying about 3-0 for the Spuds. We hate Tottenham. We hate Tottenham. We are the Tottenham haters. Great. Tim Min said, I'll put Scholes left midfield. He has no fear going forward. Yeah, that's what you like to see.
You're right, Tim Min. But like I actually sort of like, said, I said he's too good in defence to waste him as a midfielder.
Yeah.
So if you were going to play Scholes, I would play him in his left back position and then allow him to bomb forward. But I would still put Emerson in front of him. I think Emerson's perfect for that job.
Yeah. Shocking saying, you would start Fabian goal for Budgie.
Yeah, I would, because I think as good a shot stopper as Areola is and everything else, I just feel that the team in general are a lot more in tune with Fabianski in goal. I feel that he might command his box better, in which case that filters forward. Like I've said, I like to have an unbanded captain in every row of my team.
Yeah.
And I don't really see Areola as a captain very much. Yeah, he can holler and shout and blame and direct a bit, but he's not as good at it as Fabianski. Fabianski is too long in the tooth now to just allow the defence to go willy-nilly what they want to do until he needs them to do something. True. He conducts his back four throughout a game. So, yeah, I would start with him, mate, yeah. Just to show, I think it would show us a better back five, including Keeper. Fabianski's a great shot stopper himself.
Yeah, but as we know, mate, he's not getting any younger, and that's where our problem lies. I've said it already. Make him our goalkeeping coach. Boot out the other fella, because it seems like he's a bit of a waster being in there. Yeah, and go and knock on Liverpool's door and say, "It's 30 million. We'll take Kelleher all day long."
Yeah.
Tim at the back saying, "Do not lose."
It's
is what we
30 million and an IOU a Jared Owen. Can we have Kelleher, please?
You know what's coming out there. I agree with this sentiment at the back, though, that, Potter too defensive. And that's the problem, We're not got the players to be clever enough to be like that. We just got to go with how we know we can play. Pure and simple. Never met a male dough taunt. Yes, but these days you never know. It's all inclusive these days, Brendan. All inclusive, even the animal world. Thank you, Des, for that. Smash the likes. Evening, Ian. Hope you will. That Fenton video has been stitches every time. Anyone who owns a dog can relate to yes, you're not wrong there. Yeah, transgender. Oh, man.
Yeah, very good, Harry.
Harry said, I am a genius. Frog's laughing at it as well. Pepsi, Dear Lives Matter.
Yeah,
very good. Genius indeed. Frog saying, built up some hope for Sunday, then remember Wolves and Southampton. Yes. Yeah. They sound like each other. Chelsea are 4-1 up there. Bloody hell. Good evening to Desert Job Podcast. Evening, chaps. Evening to yourself. We are live till 10. Well done. Good. Make sure we go over and have a look there and give you what we like. We've got the chance to, so I'll look out for that one. I am Robot. He's also saying Adam posted a video on his West Ham rebuild and really interesting suggestions. We'll have a look out for that. So just look on the thing there. Phil saying, got a feeling Kudus has got a put on a performance this weekend after his goal. Hopefully, it's a little bit of confidence that he needs. That's he does need that, and players they live off confidence, and they need that boost every now and then. They do need that. Where's the buddy search there?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. He's in the middle there. Look. And if you haven't had a chance to, please go over to see Dad's Football Podcast. They do some good stuff. Series 1, episode 30, part 2. I'm a robot and from Paris with love. That's brilliant. And you're showing hope that we'll so. So let's have a look at the Green Street Elite.
Yeah.
Let's get up there. And this is, as we already mentioned, Budgie put in the chat earlier on. If you've got any questions about Di Canio, let's put it in there. And let's see the man himself now.
Come on, Iron.
You're massive, massive.
Oh, you.
You're massive, massive. You're massive.
Budgie disappeared. He's so impressed by it, he jumped himself out of the channel.
You know what
That's
happened? I tried to post a comment and it wouldn't post, so I thought, oh, I'll delete it. And then it said something like reload or something. I thought, oh, I'll try that. Kick me out of the studio. Yeah, mate. So if you want any IT advice, do not ask Budgie.
Oh man, that was brilliant. I like that one. I can see why what you said earlier. But in doing that, I'm forever blowing bubbles and keep you uppies. Yeah, that's superb.
Quality.
Are you going on Sunday? Hoping to maybe go and see this one, but we'll see, Daz. I'm waiting for a friend to come back on me. Who knows?
I'm going. Where will you be if you do go?
So what's that now? Is it road? It's block J, I believe it is. Is it J?
Yeah.
I think it's J, and it's right by the corner flag.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, near the corner flag.
I'll be right up in the fucking gods. No doubt.
If I go, I'll bring me binoculars then. See if I look out for you, Budge. I'll do that instead.
You'll notice, mate. We should have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pepsi saying, Tony's banned from the stadium. Well, Frog saying their pay packets would absolutely fill me with confidence. Absolutely. Yeah, didn't know that he's saying there. Matt Harry said, should have muted the music tone while the master sings. Budgie created it. Have a word with Budgie.
Well, the reason I didn't is because of any copyright. So if I had have played just the Di Canio piece without the watermark and without the music over the top of it, it would have been unchanged, and therefore I may have broken copyright rules. By doing it the way I did it, no copyright issues. Because I created the music that went over the top of it, so I own the rights to that. There you go.
Right. Frog saying, yeah, love that clip of him singing Bubbles. Yeah. Michael saying 1.5 million that would get you a beard nowadays. Yes, probably right.
Mhm.
Britta saying that intro was longer than Di Canio's Emma's career. But what a player. You're not wrong, Daz. He was an exceptional player. And
Yeah, absolutely.
they all said it was a risk signing him, taking him on for obviously what he did for obviously his name, Alcock, the referee.
Yeah.
It was all like, oh, you can't, because he's going to be a bad boy for the club and that. But he embraced the West Ham way. He made it his. I think he,
Have you seen the interview that he's done recently with
yes,
Jack Mate?
Yeah.
Where he says, once you come into this club, you're hooked. He was a maverick. He was a loved player over in Italy, and he chose to become a West Ham legend, but by his playing and the things he could do with the ball and the things he did off the ball and the things he did, pre-game, post-game, Canio he embraced everything about the East End.
Yeah.
Not just West Ham. He embraced everything about the East End. And, he's had suits made in, claret and blue or blue and claret. He's had cars that match our colour scheme in some way, shape or form, So the guy is completely hooked on this club, regardless of his hometown, which was Lazio. Was it Lazio? I can't remember who he came from now. But he was, even though he still supports his hometown club strongly, he's a West Ham fan, He's a West Ham legend. And, he gave us so much joy, with the ball at his feet. And I think everybody and anybody that knows anything about Paolo Di Canio will know about two goals in particular. One against Wimbledon when Trevor Sinclair put the ball beautifully across into the box and he scissor kick volleyed it into the back of the net and surprised best part of, 50,000 people that day, including himself. Oh, no, it wasn't really a surprise to him because, like Joe Cole said, he used to do that in training all the time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, everybody will remember that goal. And as far as most people that would put a compilation of West Ham goals together, that would usually get number one slot. Okay. And then there was the one against Chelsea when he was out on the right-hand side and he comes in and he sets himself up with the little tee up and then volleys it across the goal into the back corner. That definitely was Chelsea because my brother hates that goal. But they're probably two of the most iconic goals of his West Ham career. But
I like the one with the Man United one when what's his name? The French begin with a B. What's the bloody name of the
Eric Cantona?
No, the goalkeeper.
Oh, Barthez.
Barthez, yes. When he basically beat the defence. The ball got played through the Canio. He's run all the way length of there. He's only got him and Barthez. Barthez tries to go shit assery on him and try and put him off. He just looks over his shoulder and no, it still plays on it. Bang. Bangs in the goal, and that was great because Barthez at that point had a little bit of an arrogance about him, and
I mean, when you compare him with players that you would consider have an arrogance, like your Balotellis and your Diego Costas of the world, and I think he showed minimal amount of arrogance. To be fair. But what I did like about him was that he didn't like shithousery in the way he spoke. You know, he
True.
was completely transparent when he spoke post game. Always.
Yeah.
You know, I remember one particular interview with him, and they said to him something about, you know, don't you feel that the midfield could have helped you a little bit more? You know, I mean, you struggled to get the one goal that you did get. I think we'd lost 2-1 or something. So I can't remember even. I think it was Leicester actually. And he basically said, you know, don't you think that the midfield could have helped you out a little bit more than that? And he basically said, look, you know, the midfield had their hands full. You know, it was down to me to create something. That's what I'm here for. You know, I mean, like, you know, don't go putting it on me, pals. You know, if you want to pick on someone, pick on me. I didn't do enough with it when I had it. You know, kind of thing.
Which is
I mean, I'm paraphrasing completely, but you know, but that was his attitude. You know, it was always the team mentality. Even though it was him doing all these maverick things, he still never let, you know, the pundits and the media forget about the people that were there with him. You know, the guys in the trenches. You know,
go appreciate that. You know, I really have appreciate that. Let's catch up with the chatters before we kind of round it up. Seven at the back says his goal against Arsenal. He had Adams and Kieran on their bums. Yeah, what a legend he wrote there. Frog's going to make the ringtone of the music. Ian R says PDC, our very own genius lunatic. The definition of a maverick. If every player was ever made for us, it was him. He just got us and the club, a real hero of mine. And Ian, I think it's. I think we can mainly say that probably 90% of fans have the same kind of feeling of that.
Yeah,
because
fans that knew him, of course, that know about him.
He bought into the way though, Budge, and that was the key thing about it.
Yeah,
You know, I love that as well with a player.
Yeah, but I mean, like you ask like a 15-year-old these days about Paolo Di Canio.
Oh no, yeah.
Oh yeah, my dad liked him. You know,
Yeah,
I don't
exactly,
really know much
exactly.
about him. Or, you know, he was my mum's hero or whatever. You know, but I think if you ask anybody that's sort of 25 plus, they will have kind of more of a memory of him. You know, you got to think 25 years ago he was at this club.
25 years ago.
A quarter of a century ago.
Yeah. But what you just said about the youngsters, isn't it? They need to come here and watch Green Street Elites because they'll be reminded of these players. That's the key thing. That's
right.
Yeah.
So all of you out there that have got kids, go and get them out of their beds. We'll replay the intro if you want. Don't care if it's only an 8-month-old baby. You get
exactly. Yeah. We'll convert them. Usually saying great film. Yeah, The Deer Hunter. What a film. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Harry's also saying thank you for clarification, Budgie, on that as well.
No problem.
If Tony goes, we'll win. Says Pepsi. Bodo scored. They got a goal back. 3-1 now. Phil says turned down Man United twice while he was with us. Yeah,
that's correct. And he admitted that in more than one interview.
Yeah, why do you want to go there? No. Michael Blake says best thing was we signed Di Canio and Winterburn in the same team. Yeah. I mean, Winterburn, he did all right for us.
Listen, I always liked him. I've got massive respect for Nigel Winterburn. In fact, that's a name that's going on our list.
Yes, yeah.
Dear
Prudence. Yeah, look. Harry says, Beer Hunter was a game I played in my youth. In your pants, only one can is shaken violently. Then you all simultaneously open the can at your temple waist. Fucking game. The Susie version usual. Brilliant. What a tune. Frog saying you can smell when players win or lose or working for the badge. Many now just say, this is clear as day. Yeah, I mean, there's the key word on that, Frog, is loyalty. There is very little with it with players these days. Rare exceptions, the ones that do stick with one club. Ian says he was brought up in a working class area of Rome, similar to the old East End. I think that helped with his connection to us. He's probably got some. That sounds like some meat on that. Yeah, not a bad shout. The usual saying, the singer is out of Bromley. I think she lives in France now. Well, Bartes, thank you very much, Phil, again for that. Phil says, yeah, went ballistic when they goal went in. Yeah, you imagine VAR was back then. Would he have got away with that? Who knows? Who cares? That's what they say. Usually says, funny enough, the drum is called Budgie. There you go. Madison taken off, injured for Spurs. And that's quite ironic, Phil, because it was Madison that kind of basically saying, like, let's get beyond the manager and he's injured. Pepsi says, when I think of Di Canio, I always remember the ref push win at Wednesday. Yeah, I mean, that was class.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will remember that, but with all respect, Pepsi, you are an Arsenal fan, so you wouldn't have watched Di Canio with the same kind of eye that we would have done. Yeah. So, you may have looked at him and gone, I remember that. And I remember when he scored that flick, that scissor kick volley, maybe, because that was on every TV channel for about 10 years after it happened. So, but the thing is, when you watched him week in, week out, I mean, like, there's a little clip I've got on my computer somewhere. I've used it in a video before. And on my channel, and there's a clip of him where he's tackling he's actually intercepting a player with the ball. I believe it's Norwich we're playing at the time. I'm not 100% certain on that though. But anyway, he's tackling the player, and he's gone into the tackle so intently and all this, that, and the other. Yeah, I can't. I'm barely played the bass guitar that I've got. And he runs to the holdings sort of thing while he's in motion, and he leans over the holdings and he kind of looks up and he looks at the crowd, and they're all giving him so much love. They're giving him so much love, and you can kind of see the pride in his face on this little clip. It'll take me too long to find it now, but I will find it.
Yeah,
and I'll
look out for that.
But it's only literally like a 3 or 5 second clip. Because of copyright, obviously. Yeah,
as always, bastard thing.
Yeah.
So it's all about music. Kirsty McCall. Usual saying, love the Cure playing that. Yeah, Frog saying was a great Welsh band called Badgie. Wow.
Yeah.
Frog. Big up to yourself as well.
Frog rock.
Frog free-handed, very good. Frog, he's saying there. Sharky's saying, do you remember the goal against Man City when he did the Panenka for the penalty spot?
Yes, I do. I do remember that, and that was cheeky. That was very, very cheeky, but loved it. Yeah.
They were supporting everywhere in the 70s, true. Usual watch, Tollers, Budgie live on KXEP. Budgie's still a character, mad drummer. And our Budgie's a character as well, and all good for it as well. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up. It's been a good show. We've talked about a few things about West Ham. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see Potter have a bit more sanity in this game, and let's hope so with the team he picks, because that's the key thing for us. He's got to make sure he gets this one right. If he F's this one up, and then the crowd's just going to get on him more and more, and then.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm going to this game. This is only the second game I've gone to this season. I'm really excited to go because I haven't been. I'm kind of thinking, what am I actually going for?
Oh, yeah, what are you going
to I'm going for. I'm going for the Carpenters post-match and the Carpenters pre-match, and perhaps the Heineken bar post-match as well. So,
we can see a theme building up there. We can see that, yes.
yeah, there is a theme. And the outcome will be happy putting me onto my train home.
You're welcome. Making sure Budgie gets home all right.
Yeah, she does it all the time. She makes sure I get on my bloody train. And I'm like, she's got like half a mile to go in the same station. Stratford International is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, it is now, isn't it? That's for sure.
She's got like half a mile to go to get to her platform.
It's true.
But she makes sure I get on my train.
That's nice. That is a nice touch. Thanks, Tom and Budgie. You're welcome there, usual. Brendan saying his things. Thanks, Tom. Budgie chatted all night to yourself as well. Frog saying, wonder which book of raffle tickets Pothole used for the Spuds lineup. Oh, don't bear thinking about
the blue ones, mate.
That's the truth. Daz, good night as well. Night, guys. Top show. Let's beat Tottenham. 100%. Phil saying also, cheers, fellas. Thanks, Phil, for being
Cheers,
with us
Phil.
as well. There's still 19 at the moment, still with us. It's great for hanging around. And
Yeah.
Harry, thank you, gentlemen. Much love and chat, and much love to yourself as well, as always.
Thank you to everyone, and also thank you to Mama Flossie for her moderating, etc. I know she's probably had to go, but just need to give her another mention because she does it relentlessly, tirelessly, and for no money. So,
yeah, exactly.
you know, there you go.
Frog say night, everyone.
Every time you sit there in the chat, guys, make sure to
say
hello. There you go.
Nice comment from Frog as the last one.
Well,
Night, everyone. Thanks. Be lucky. Be lucky, and of course, enjoy the rest of this week. You know, the weather for tomorrow. It should be good. And have a great weekend, and we will see you again soon. So, Pepsi saying, let's both sets of fans don't start trouble outside the ground.
Yeah, that would be kind of petty of us to do it because we're at home.
Yeah,
you know.
But no.
And to be fair, there's not going to be enough Tottenham to really worry too much about it.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. But other than that, people, thanks for hanging around with us now. Me and Budgie are going to sign ourselves off now. Thanks for hanging around with us and that. And the last but not least, as always, come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.
I missed the button.